Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. Today I have a very special guest for you guys. As always, I'm always trying to bring you guys unique people from all different fields. And today we're talking with mortgage champion Kam Grant. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for giving me your time and coming on the show tonight.
My pleasure. I'm honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So first off the bat, tell me a little bit about what you do and how you got into it.
Cool. So I am a senior mortgage consultant. So basically I help people with the financing when they're looking to purchase a home or refinance a home. So it's pretty near and dear to me, and I'm really passionate about it because a lot of people come from generational renters. I came from generational renters, and to be able to help people establish generational wealth, that is something that can be passed on, and knowing that I'm the one that made it all happen. So without the financing, most people are not able to get into a home or purchase real estate. So it's pretty big that I get to be a part of that milestone.
Now, how did you get into that? Did you always know that you wanted to go into that business, or did you have a mentor who kind of, motivated you to go into it?
Yes and no. Okay. So when I was younger, I actually wanted to be a realtor.
Okay.
So the agent that actually sells the house, because I was always fascinated with the different houses in different neighborhoods and just how they were decorated or the architecture regarding it. And so an opportunity presented itself for me to relocate to Sacramento. And I was already in finance. I had been working for one of the bigger banks for probably 7 years, non-lending, I should say. It was more so credit card stuff.
Got it.
And the opportunity presented itself for me to come in and be an assistant for one of the top producers in the region that was doing loans. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool, because that'll get my foot in the door. I could learn about some of the process and the steps for people to get into the house. And when I got in, I learned the business. I learned what to and not to do, how I would be if I were the one that was a lender. And then I just realized that it was a really crucial step, because like I said, without the financing, you don't get the house. So helping people understand the processes of that was really key to me, because it's a lot of education. It's a lot of people don't buy houses, or they're stuck in being a generational renter just because they just don't know. They don't have someone to tell them, this is what you need to do to be able to get into a home. So when I got in there and I learned those things, I developed more of a passion, because I felt like I was really instrumental in that process for them.
So I like what you just said right there, because first of all, I probably come from a generational of renters, and I agree. A lot of times, we just don't know. We don't know the process and everything like that. We don't know how to go about it. We all want to be in a house, but we just don't know how to get a house. So can you just give a little overview about the steps that a person should take when they're looking to buy a house?
So the first step is you need to talk to a lender.
Okay, which is
a
you.
Lender.
Right, okay.
The champ. And I'll get into how that name came about. But you need to talk to a lender, because most agents won't even talk to you because they don't know what your budget is. Talking to a lender will help you to identify how much you qualify for and what your parameters are in terms of the houses that you're looking for. So for instance, you'll see the memes on social media, and you'll see the people eating snacks and they're searching through Zillow yeah, there's a 5-bedroom house, $500,000.
I have seen that.
I can get this, and they're sending it to the realtor, and the realtor is well, you're not even pre-approved. Like, how do you know this is even within your budget? Either this is above your budget or it's below your budget.
Yeah.
So it's best to talk to a lender. The steps is once you call me, I'll talk to you and find out what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve. I'll ask you a couple probing questions to kind of identify what your financial situation is, what your credit is, and then from that I'll go into, okay, we'll do a loan application where we do pull credit. It is a hard inquiry. And then, I'll assess their financials and everything incorporated to determine what their budget is. Once I know what their budget is, I issue them a pre-approval, which we share also with their realtor. Their realtor will say, great, Cam, thanks. You are approved within this price range, and that approval basically means that they can shop up to that max of the approval. Doesn't mean that they need to use the whole thing, but up to that amount.
Got it. So no matter what, they got to see you first, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
without you, they don't. So you should never go looking for houses first before you know how much you're working with, right?
Well, you can, because sometimes that is like your dream.
Ah, okay.
So you can go look at houses and stuff. You just can't put in an offer. And
so it's like window shopping.
Right.
Okay.
So then you're like, oh, you know what? Okay, it's time to pull the trigger. Let me talk to a lender.
Right. Now, what is some of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to buying a house? Because me personally growing up, the thought process was always like, I can't afford it and I'm never going to be able to afford it. Like, oh, you got to make 6 figures to be able to afford a house. And I'm not lying, in certain areas, I feel like that probably may be a little bit more true than others. But what is one of the biggest misconceptions that you find in your field?
There's a few. So one, there's a myth. You don't need 20% down to
Okay.
buy a house. Now, if you put 20% down, that means that you can avoid any mortgage insurance that's added on into your monthly payment. But 20% is not a requirement. There are down payment assistance programs that you can also layer with closing cost assistance. So it allows you to get into a house with less money out of your own pocket. Then you have government products, like if you're in the military, where they don't have a down payment requirement depending on what the purchase price is and those parameters. And then at the end of the day, there's other things that we can do to offset some of the closing costs. Then you have other government programs like your FHA programs, where they have a minimum requirement of 3.5% down. And then you also have your conventional or your traditional loan products where you can go as low as 3% down. The difference really in the products are based on the property itself and you qualifying with your credit. So how we can, determine like which, program will may be best suitable for you. But you don't need the 20% down because most of the programs, that's not even the requirement. Now, if you're looking at trying to come in as investment property, then 20% down, is going to be required for that. But again, there's different assistance programs in different areas to help you get into the home. Another myth is you don't need perfect credit. A lot of these programs, you can get into a house. It just depends on your scenario. Now, if you have like a 580, 585 credit score, then yeah, I could get you in the home, but you're not going to be able to use the down payment assistance program. You're going to need to have leverage of your own to be able to show the bank that you could afford this house by coming up with your own down payment and your own closing costs, because you're at that point a risk to the bank with that credit score. But the higher the credit score is, the more programs you might be eligible for to be able to get into the house. You have conventional products that start at a 620. You have government products that also start at a 620. If you're looking for like down payment assistance, they can vary from 640 to 660, 680, maybe even 700, depending on different parameters like your debt to income ratio. So the higher the credit score, if you're using assistance programs, that means I can go up a little bit higher on your debt to income ratio, which means you qualify for more of a house.
Right.
If you are using a program that's outside of those assistance programs, rule of thumb is the higher the credit score, the better the interest rate. Better the interest rate, the lower the payment. Lower the payment, the higher you get qualified for.
Right. So first off, I'm hearing credit is very important, right? But I'm also hearing
It's a
that
starting
like
point.
right, credit is very important.
Gotta start there.
But I'm also hearing too that it doesn't have to be as high as like I think a lot of people initially thought, right? I think a lot of people feel like you have to be damn near perfect credit to be able to afford a house. Otherwise, no bank is gonna, approve or lend you the money. And so that's nice to know that. It sounds like 620 is a good starting point. Like like if you're at least at 620, and you just go up from there, a lot more options open up, and you can start there, and so it's you have some options.
And even at 620, when we talk about leveraging like your assets, right? You don't have to use your own money, and you don't have to use down payment assistance. So there's avenues like gift funds. It could be from a family member, such as like grandparents, parents, a spouse, aunts, uncles. Those types of family members are able to gift you funds to cover your down payment and your closing costs. You also have opportunities like to use like your retirement funds. Some people don't know that you can pull from that, and you can use that to purchase real estate. Insurance policies, if you have the type of insurance policy that will allow you to pull from it and not necessarily be penalized, you can use that to purchase or to use for your down payment or your closing costs. You can use CDs. Some people have certificates of deposits. You can pull from that. Your own checking, savings, stocks, bonds, whatever you can leverage to pull the money in, then yeah.
Okay, I think there's, I didn't know that about like the whole stocks thing and like the CDs. I think a lot of people my age knew that. So tell me, what is some of the most rewarding moments about your job?
Oh my God, when people tell me, oh my God, Kim, I never thought this would happen. I never thought I was gonna be able to do this. Or they started a family or are starting a family, and they bring and include their children in the process. And they're the first family member to purchase a home, meaning they came from generational renters.
Right.
Young couples, millennials, people that are super young, and they understand, like, I want to purchase real estate because it's something I can pass down to my kids. My kids can pass it down to their kids, and it's just ongoing. My youngest client was 21 years old.
Wow.
She purchased her first home by herself. She had just got engaged. She was pregnant at the time with her first baby. She now has two. And she purchased her first home on her own. And in fact, she just recently reached out to me because she's trying to get her mom to purchase her first home.
Right.
So things like that is very rewarding, and it gives me the motivation to continue to do it, and it just like warms my heart.
Speaking of motivation, I think we have a few pictures that we're going to take a look at. Tell us about tell us about these pictures that we have. We're going to show a few of them right now. Let's take a look. What is this picture?
This is a picture in me. I was feeling myself.
Okay. I mean, I like the hat.
The hat, yeah, that's a nice hat. It was Keith and James' hat. It's just me and my neighborhood.
Okay.
Actually, my daughter is the photographer. To shout out to the Kid Champ. She took this picture of me because I needed content for social media.
Okay, all right.
And I was like, houses in the background, and just, it was cold, and I just really liked my outfit. This is actually me at one of the events in the Bay Area, and I'm also part of a nationally known organization that focuses on democracy and housing. And so it's national, but we have local chapters throughout different states and different cities. So this was in the Bay Area chapter of my Realtist people. A couple accolades, awards that I received actually while I was a board member for the local Sacramento chapter Realtist. So I got a couple recognition from Senate and Assembly and also from the organization itself. That's crazy.
And then what about this one?
Speaking of, again, the Sacramento Realtors Association, this was the day that I got installed. So this was our installation here in Elk Grove. Yeah, so it's installation night.
Okay, okay. So something that comes to mind, someone who's looking to get into the same field as you, right, to become a mortgage broker, what do you think is one of the most important things that they need to know or learn starting out? Because
there's no prerequisites, I would say. It does take someone that is strong-willed, that is determined, motivated, and also has thick skin, because a lot of people will see the glitz and glam of the industry, and they'll say, okay, like even if you look at my social media, you'll see I travel a lot. I love to travel. I love to go to different eateries, you know, and explore things. I like fashion, you know, that's just something I'm into. So people will see all of that and incorporate that. Okay, well, they make really good money. It's true. However, that money didn't come overnight.
Right, right.
So you have to learn the craft. You can get a mentor. I've mentored several people before, but it's not like you need to go take a specific course. Now, for what I do, depending on, so there's different levels. So for instance, when I first got in the business, I work for a direct lender, and then I ventured off to the national banks. So like your bigger banks, you know, that we probably bank at, right?
Got it.
And now I work for a direct lender. So I'm not a broker, but it just means that we can, you know, directly lend to you and we finance it. Some of the loans we either keep and we service them ourselves, or some of them are sold to outside servicers, depending on the type of loan it is. For instance, like down payment assistance programs, they're going to be sold to their servicer to handle it. And just to clarify, a servicer is just someone that accepts the payments. Your terms are all the same. They just process the payments and keep track of it and send you the mortgage statement every month.
Got it.
But you want to, and a lot of these programs, a lot of these companies, they will give you their training. So when I got in the business, all the training was provided to me. Now, however, it was so long ago. And the company that I was hired with, I didn't feel like their training was the best training, but it helped me to be, to basically kind of like know how to navigate like the different softwares and stuff like that.
So
and look up the guidelines and stuff like that. Really, I received the experience from my then boss, who, you know, was doing loans, and she was the top in the region. And I learned what to and not to do from her.
Got it.
I learned, you know, just how to structure deals. So just being a sponge and absorbing all the information that she had and applying that. When I worked for the bigger banks, their training was more intense. And it had like more stuff that tells you, for instance, like how to structure deals, how to do your formulas, calculate income and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty helpful, even though I had already been doing it for a little bit of time. So most companies, they will provide the training, and the training is free. Now, when you work for a direct lender, you're required to actually have a license, versus the bigger banks, you are under their license umbrella, right?
Got it.
So when you do your licensing, it's all the stuff you already know. So you just study all the technicalities, like the enactments and all that kind of stuff, and then you go take your test, and then you get your NMLS number, and you're certified, you know, to originate loans at the broker level, or if you go into direct lending, which is kind of what, you know, or the field that I'm in, which is the same thing. It's just different structures.
Okay.
Mentorship is good. A lot of times, if you start in at an entry level, you could either come in as a junior, or sometimes they have certain programs that partners you up with like a senior mortgage loan officer, and basically they train you, and you get to like shadow them and what they do, how they talk to clients, what they do to get business, how to structure deals, and things like that.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the Mortgage Champion after these messages.
Everyday amazing with Sky.
Hello, my name is Sky Alton, host of Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. Be sure to check it out on X Sacramento, and you can also follow me on Instagram at Sky_Alton. And check out past episodes of the show on YouTube at Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. See you then. Welcome back to Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. I am still here with the Mortgage Champion Kam. Now, first of all, tell me, because I can see that you're very active on social media, right? And I want to know, one, how you came up with that name, because I like it, it's very catchy. But two, how has social media helped you like excel in your field, and with the changing of like technology and everything like that, and connecting with Gen Z? Like, have you found that adapting to the technology like Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that has really helped?
So shout out to Jared, because that is my real estate baby brother, and also one of my podcast members. And we were at a conference one year, and I had a personal handle. And I was just like, well, this is not really talking about what I do. And I felt like it didn't really relate to what I'm doing. So that day, I was like, you gotta help me change this. And he was just like, why don't you call yourself like the champion? Because you do a lot of advocating for your clients. Like, you fight for them. I was like, Mortgage Champion Kam. Because before it was all about Kam.
Right.
And I was like, people are gonna be like, girl, bye.
I mean, it sounds like a cool show,
It was
like
catchy,
all about
but
Kam. Like, okay, all right.
Not mortgage. It's not real estate. It's not for the people. It's not helping the people. And so he said that, and I was just like, boom, it's changed. He was like, for real? I was like, yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's it. So that's how I got the name. And then after I changed it, clients started following me, and they become friends and family, right?
Right.
And so they just was like, champ, champ, champ. And it was like, you really are the champ. They would send me text messages, you really are the champ. Like, you're the truth. And I'd be like, oh, I hope I live up to the levels of my name.
Right. Well, you got to live up to the name.
I live up to it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And then what was the other question?
Well, like, so social media and stuff like that.
Yes.
Using that to maybe find new clients and just adapting to the technology. You feel like that, like, new mortgage brokers should really embrace that? Or, because I'm pretty, like, in the past, that wasn't a thing. Like, people weren't all on social media and stuff like that because it wasn't, they was out in the field, but now that's where a lot of information is spread. That's where a lot of people are at. So seeing you like embracing that, I feel like, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like that sets you apart.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the free game, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna break it down. So a couple things. One, I actually am a really private person, but when you were in sales, even though I don't classify myself as sales, I'm more so of a resource person, right? You want to put your name out there. You don't want to be a silent mortgage loan officer. You want everybody to know what you do.
Right.
So you kind of have to open that up. Also, a reason why I don't have a personal page and a business page. One, people want to do business with people that they feel that they know, they like, they trust, right? So I kind of exude on my social platform that this is my lifestyle. This is what it is. This is who I am. Like, it's authentic. It's me. And I do a lot of what I call sharing is caring. We heard that back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So I do a lot of dropping gems and nuggets as it relates to the process, as it relates to how to, and new programs that people in the community may not be familiar with. And sure, in the old days, I can go and door knock and pass out flyers and sit there and spend hours writing letters and mailing them off. But we have a wave that keeps on changing. We have new generations where technology has evolved. I not only lend in the entire state of California, but I now lend in multiple states. So how do I attract people from different demographics and different locations and different states, outside of having family and friends that live in those different places?
Right. Yeah.
So social media is super cool because you can use things like hashtags, and that generates people. You can tag locations, that generates people. Instagram is so cool because they have an Explorer page.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you see people that you don't know, and if it looks cool, if it's interesting or intriguing, you click it and you're like, oh, they're down the street. Or, oh, this and that.
You share it too.
You share
so,
it.
They might see something on your page that they like,
Yes.
and then, they think it's cool, so then they share it, and that person shares it. So I really like how you embrace that because, you know, I feel like not everyone is like that in their fields. You know, some people are very like old school, but, you know, they shy away from it. But I always feel like we should kind of embrace new technology to an extent and, you know, especially if it can help connect people, right? So yeah, I really love that you're doing that. I really love like that you're advocate for the people and, you know, you share like not only, you know, your expertise, but you try to share other people's expertise in your field and just, you know, drop gems. If you think it's something that can help people, I like that you, because I've seen a little bit of your social media and I like that you bring people on there and you have them share, right? So you're also sharing your platform. So I really think that, you know, what you're doing is really helping people. So you're living up to the name.
Thank you.
You know?
I am, okay. I made Nipsey proud.
Is that where you're from, originally LA?
I am, born and raised. I'm an LA native.
Okay, all right, I respect that. All right. So I have this thing that I'm doing.
I'm so nervous about this.
You may have seen it. I have this thing where I have a guest pull the card and answer the question on the card. So we're gonna have you do the same thing and then just, you know, just let me know what.
Let's see. Am I reading this?
Yes, just let me know.
Which of your possessions would be good to throw away? None of them. None of them. Which possessions do I want to throw away?
Well, you say you're into fashion, so I guess, you know, you ain't trying to give away nothing.
I mean, you got couture, there's vintage. I mean, even with J's, like, there's J's that I had in high school that are now back out, and the kids like, oh, them is fresh. Like, these is the original ones, not the re-release. Like, these is the real retros. They just clean and kept up.
I mean, that could be an answer. Listen, if
it
you ain't
is what
throwing
it
away nothing,
is.
you ain't throwing away nothing.
I'm not a hoarder, though. I'm not a hoarder. I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, listen, that's her answer, people. And before I let you go, we're gonna have my guest here give out her social media. So you just tell the people where they can find you.
I appreciate that. Again, everyone, I am the Mortgage Champ Cam, and you can follow me on Instagram at Mortgage Champion Cam with a K. That's
very important, with a K.
With a K. In all platforms. So Facebook is also Mortgage Champ Cam. My website is www.mortgagechampioncam with a K.
Okay. That has been another episode of Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. As always, you can check the show out on YouTube at Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton, and be sure to check it on Access Sacramento on Channel 17. And until next time, I'll see you then. Okay. All right. Well, you've heard it here. Contact the champ and get you a house.
Everyday amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing. With Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing. With Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing. With Sky Alton.